It looks like we will not have a partial government shutdown this Friday, but there's one last one scheduled for March 22nd. So what happened today? Why are we still talking about shutdowns? And when is this nonsense going to be over? All excellent questions. I'm going to answer all of them for you in this video. So the reason why we're likely not going to have a partial government shutdown this Friday is because today the House overwhelmingly passed on a bipartisan basis half of the 12 required bills necessary to keep about 30% of the government open. Those 6 bills passed today approve $459 billion in government spending for departments like agriculture, justice, energy, commerce, transportation, veterans affairs, housing and urban development, the EPA, and the FDA. The bills will keep those departments funded only until the end of this fiscal year on September 30th. These bills did not drastically cut spending, nor did they significantly cut programs the way Republicans had been demanding. In fact, these bills basically reflect the deal former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy cut with President Biden last year. Democrats say this bill actually increases funding for the WIC program by about $1 billion and includes funding for rental assistance and the school lunch program. Republicans say they had victories too. They were successful in cutting a small part of the budget to the FBI by about 6% and cutting about 10% of funding for the Environmental Protection Agency. The Republicans say these bills are also victories because they prohibit the VA from implementing abortion policies, including reproductive counseling for veterans. These bills do not include any policy changes for the U.S.-Mexico border, and they do not give military aid to either Ukraine, Israel, or Taiwan. The final vote on these 6 bills today, 339 to 85. Again, Democrats got this one over the finish line with 207 yes votes. 132 Republicans said yes. Almost all of the no votes came from Republicans, with 82 saying no and 2 Democrats saying no. 8 lawmakers did not vote today. Now this package of 6 bills will go to the Senate for a final vote. It needs to pass, and then the president needs to sign it before this Friday in order to avoid this partial government shutdown. We are expecting it will pass and the president will sign it. But why are we having another partial government shutdown on March 22nd? Because the other 6 funding bills still need to be passed, and those are going to be much more difficult to get across the finish line. Why? Because those funding bills include spending levels for controversial departments like Defense, Homeland Security, Labor, Health and Human Services, the State Department, and the legislative branch. So for the next 2 weeks, expect major fights over funding levels and policy provisions. If lawmakers cannot agree on those things before March 22nd, the departments I just mentioned will shut down. And here's the thing. We're going to go through this all over again in 6 months. These bills that Congress is passing now are for the fiscal year we're already in. This should have been done before last September. So as soon as these talks wrap up and these bills get passed, Congress needs to get right back to the negotiating table to figure out the spending plans for the next fiscal year. By the way, those are due by September 30th, and if they don't get it done, we will see another government shutdown on October 1st.